Hi, I'm Russell Robinson, Digital Director at Aram. I recently spoke at the IRRV around removing digital barriers. What do I mean by this? I'm talking around improving customer journeys on digital services and not making it difficult for citizens to complete what you would expect would be quite simple processes on local government websites and other channels. We've worked with a number of local authorities in the UK analysing their digital services. We've also analysed and researched over 50 different local government websites in the UK. And one particular area that I talked about at the IRRV was around direct debit enrolment, direct debit services, and the importance of improving these services. The reason being is that we've found that it's very complicated and challenging for citizens to enrol for direct debit, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And why is this important? It's because given the cost of living crisis, it's extremely important that we help people manage their finances by getting customers onto auto pay. It helps people keep to their payments and not miss payments and end up in problem debt. Secondly, for customers that are not on direct debit, this then creates an operational burden for local government services. And when we're being asked to do a lot more with a lot less, it's important that we change how we approach the digital services so we can reduce this operational burden for collections teams. When we looked at the local government digital services across over 50 different websites, we found that on the whole, it took up to 10 to 15 clicks to be able to enrol for direct debit. That's far too many steps in the process for people that are on mobile devices, which is typically 60 to 70% of users, or people that are on their laptop or PC. To click through and expect people to go through that many steps just to sign up for a payment process. I think if Netflix put their subscribers through that many clicks to be able to make your monthly payments, then they certainly wouldn't have seen the success that they have done. What they've implemented is a very simple Apple Pay or recurring card payment for their monthly memberships. Another area that we looked at was how many bits of information do you get your customers to enter when they're registering for direct debit. We found that on many local government websites, up to 16 pieces of information were asked for before people could successfully complete the direct debit enrolment process. We then looked at how many local authorities have hard to know information in the direct debit process. We found that over 90% of local authorities asked hard to know information, such as requiring you to enter your council tax account number to register for direct debit. I asked at the IRRV how many in the audience knew their council tax account number, and exactly 0 hands went up. So why do we ask citizens to enter their council tax account number just to register for direct debit? We clearly want to make it seamless and easy, and we know who these customers are. So if I send you a text message and give you a link to register for direct debit, surely I can then hold your customer details in memory and only ask you for your account number and sort code. Then we also looked at the number of words that are on each page as the customer goes through the direct debit enrolment process. We found that over 1,000 words are presented on the screen to users when they're enrolling for direct debit. You overlay the fact that a lot of these words are legal speak rather than English, and when a lot of the citizens don't have English as their first language, it makes it extremely difficult to understand how to get onto direct debit. So we've really got to make these services much easier than they are today. What does all this mean? Working with local authorities, we've been able to get at the data in terms of how many users are hitting the local government homepage, how many of them are then funneling through and actually making it through the direct debit enrolment process. It's quite startling to see that we found on many occasions that only about 30% of users, citizens, that start the process actually make it through the direct debit enrolment process and successfully sign up for direct debit. And this is a combination of too many steps, too many words, asking for hard to know information. So our recommendations are, and we have designs around how to really streamline this process and make it easier for citizens to enrol for direct debit. So in terms of how Arum can help, we work with a number of local authorities. We assess digital services. We look at them from a customer journey perspective, the eyes of the citizen. We also look at how they integrate with back-end systems, and across 20 different areas of capability, we can help local authorities understand where they are. We can then also help prioritize the roadmap in terms of looking at ease impact analysis, what things are easy to implement on digital services that will yield the highest impact in this revenue year. And then in some cases, we help local authorities make changes to their existing systems or bring in new technical capability and implement those services into production. As one example, we can offer local authorities through partners direct debit microservice that will even be run as a proof of concept to help you measure what is the increased level of direct debit enrolment if you turn the enrolment process into 2 clicks, 3 pieces of data, and no more than 200 words in the enrolment process. I'm Russell Robinson. Thank you for listening.